All right, it is once again time to take stock of the Denver food scene. Today we're going to take a look at OpenTable's list of the 20 best restaurants in Denver, or as they call it, 20 restaurants that scream Denver. Part of a series they do on different cities that's looking at not only the best, restaurants in a given town, but also the restaurants that define that place. So these, in addition to them saying they're some of the best restaurants in Denver, they're also saying these are the ones that really define Denver. I am very excited to pick through it with you to give some thoughts on what they got right, maybe what they missed. As always, these are purely my subjective opinions. I'm not going off rankings or prestige or anything other than just my experiences with these places. It is nothing more than the musings of a 13-plus year Denver resident who loves to eat. And as you know, if you've watched this channel before, I am also a Denver real estate agent. If you have any needs or questions in that area, please do reach out. It's my favorite thing, and the team and I would love to see if we could be of help. To the list, this is 20 restaurants in no particular order. Let's see what they got. The first restaurant on the list is Spuntino in the Highlands. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. It could be Spuntino. This is really a terrible way to start a video, but I'm going to do it because it's the truth. I have never been here. Never been to this restaurant, heard about it a lot, have nothing to add whatsoever. I will not lie to you and pretend I've gone when I have not. You should go and tell me what to think. But moving on, second restaurant on the list, Roha. This is a big yes as far as one of the best restaurants in Denver and one of the restaurants that screams Denver. Roha is an OG as far as I'm concerned in the Denver food scene. Opened 20 years ago downtown by Jen Jasinski, who is a pillar of the food community in Denver. Jen Jasinski, the first James Beard Award winner in Colorado, and she won the James Beard Award for her work at Roha. It's kind of a Mediterranean, Italian vibe, fusion like a lot of these restaurants. Upscale, but not snooty. The article even mentions, despite the white tablecloths, it's got an easygoing vibe. I totally agree with that. You don't feel like you gotta get yourself in any special frame of mind or outfit to go to Roha. Great, laid back, but yet elevated spot. Next on the list is Steuben's, and Steuben's is a big yes for me as well. It's in Uptown. It feels like it's been there forever. Anything that's been there, Steuben's since 2006, so 2006 and then Roha 2004. In restaurant years, that's like a century. That's a really long time. So these restaurants that have survived that long, 18, 20 years, they're obviously doing something right. Steuben's pretty casual. It's kind of elevated bar food, lots of burgers and fries and beers and cocktails too. Quite hip. It's got the retro vibe. You'll see a fair amount of mustaches when you go in there. Where Steuben's really shines is the happy hour, and you can check it out on the website. I do need to do a best happy hours in Denver video. I'm working on that. I'm still doing all of the research to make sure I'm properly informed, but Steuben's will definitely be on there. Happy hour is from 2 to 6 every day, and then they also have a 9 p.m. to close, a little late night happy hour that I have taken advantage of many times, mostly in my younger days. But they have all these little combos that are really cheap. The happy hours in general, they have gone up a lot in price. A lot of things have. These are still a pretty darn good deal. The best one is this happier meal here: burger, fries, and a PBR, including the PBR. Hipster as a day is long. Still, burger, fries, and a beer, $12. Used to be $7. I'm showing my age here. I'm doing the, in my day, king-size candy bar cost a nickel. Used to be $7. Still, $12 for this screaming deal. Can't beat it. Next on the list, Q House, Chinese restaurant in Congress Park. Their Congress Park, it's not actually, it's technically City Park, but even more accurately, it's Colfax. It's right on Colfax. Colfax is its own country. I've also not been to Q House. I think that's the last one on the list. I will not comment. You tell me what you think if you've been. My favorite Chinese in Denver is Little Dragon in kind of Mayfair, Hale area. Classic Chinese, it's bomb. Moving on. Next, Carmines on Penn. Yes, this is a Denver classic, a Denver institution. I was talking about 2004. This place has been open since 94, 30 years. And it's straight to the point, family style Italian, and it's awesome. None of the extra floof of a new, we need to combine these things and make a potion out of it. Sometimes that's great, but sometimes you just want a good restaurant. This is a good restaurant that's been there forever. It feels like a neighborhood Italian joint. You know, as far as accessible neighborhood Italian, I love the Cherry Tomato in Park Hill. If you're one of those people who have been posting Cherry Tomato slander in the comments on my videos, first of all, get off my channel. I'm kidding. You can stay. But if you are one of those people, you're probably not going to like Carmines on Penn either. It's just basic, straight, delicious Italian food. People who have come at me with anti-cherry tomato rhetoric. I understand what you're saying, but I do not respect it. Here's the thing. Food doesn't always have to be an art piece. Sometimes you want Rioja. Great. And Rioja's not even that arty up there. But for example, sometimes you want Rioja, sometimes you want Carmines on Penn. They're both great. Moving on, next on the list is the Buckhorn Exchange. And you can see why the Buckhorn Exchange is on the list. It was opened in 1893. Okay, so we're just getting older, and this blows everything I was talking about out of the water. You never see a restaurant that's been open since 1893. A Denver staple. It is an institution. Many argue that it was the first liquor license given out in Denver. It was either this or my brother's bar. It was when Denver was still the Old West, and it was right off a train stop there in the kind of Lincoln Park area. But it has endured, and if you've been to the Buckhorn Exchange, you know, ton of taxidermy, heads on the walls, old-time saloon vibe, and they have fun menu items. A lot of wild game, Rocky Mountain oysters. It's a fun place to take people from out of town. My gripe, I guess, with Buckhorn Exchange is it's wildly expensive and has been for a long time, but these wild game dishes are very expensive, and the food just frankly isn't that good at this point. I don't know, maybe it was at some point. At this point, it's just okay. Hard to justify spending all that money on just average food and a bunch of animals on the wall. But I get why it's on the list. I would include it on a list like this too. And my recommendation here is if you want to take somebody from out of town to the Buckhorn Exchange, or if you just want to go because you've never tried it, go for lunch. Price is much more reasonable. Have 2 cocktails and go back to work. Next on the list, Tamayo downtown. It's a Richard Sandoval restaurant. He has a bunch of restaurants in town. It is a Mexican food place, slightly fancy Mexican, but not super fancy. It's good. It's good. It's a good place. Richard Sandoval, for me, it's always an experience that you're not going to hate, but probably isn't going to blow you away. That's how I feel about Tamayo. Solid. Next, Williams & Graham. Yes. You know I love Williams & Graham. I did the first episode of The Dispatch on it. It's amazing as far as speakeasies go. That's kind of a trend right now. It's the best one in town, bar none. You enter through a bookcase. It's awesome. Absolutely fantastic cocktails, and the food is highly underrated. Go there at like 5 o'clock, like right around when they open. Otherwise, you'll probably be waiting. Next on the list, the Plymouth in the North City Park or Skyland neighborhood. This list turning out very good. I mean, good is obviously subjective, but I'm impressed how they're really encapsulating like an eclectic yet full picture of Denver restaurants. Really good so far. Plymouth is great. I didn't know about it until very recently. A friend of mine, shout out Anna McKeel, got me a gift card there for something we did. And it's like it's almost a converted house vibe, small, farm to table, whatever that means. Good, new American, thoughtful, creative food, relatively expensive, but not crazy. If you want something different with the missus or the mister or just some friends, kind of an intimate vibe, want to feel like you're in like Austin, Texas for a night, the Plymouth. Next on the list, Linger in Lohi. Yes, solid restaurant, great rooftop patio. It's never blown my mind, but it's always good. Probably a little creative and eclectic for my tastes, but that's just my personal taste. Never first on my list of where to go out, but I've never had a bad time or meal there. Next on the list, afternoon tea at the Brown Palace. This is interesting because it's not like a restaurant, but it's an activity at a hotel/restaurant. If you want to feel like you're like hanging out with Queen Elizabeth or something, if that's your thing, you're into like, you want to go to Buckingham Palace, and that's like a nice vacation spot for you to go check out. If you're into England, is what I'm saying, afternoon tea is for you. You'll love it. You got to make a reservation. It's like $50 a pop for tea and some light snacks. It's all about the experience. Brown Palace Hotel is a Denver classic. It's been there for over 100 years. It really, really is a cool vibe. And so this is about spending some time there and just taking it all in. I'm not particularly a tea guy, but if you are, do it. It's a cool experience. It's a cool little stop on an afternoon. Make a reservation because that's what you got to do. Next up, Jack's Fish House. This is a yes for me as well. So I talk a lot about Blue Island Oyster Bar. I love oysters, and that's kind of my favorite spot in town. But Jack's has been around longer than Blue Island. First one in Denver was right downtown. So there's downtown in Glendale. There's one in Boulder as well. It's great. Just great oysters, great seafood, good cocktails, not overly pretentious at all, but nice. It's a nice place. Great for a happy hour as well. Does fill up. One of the better seafood spots in town. Next on the list, Sushi Den in Platt Park. If you're new here, apologies, but if you are not new here, I will not bore you with another long soliloquy about how great Sushi Den is. But needless to say, I love it, and it's the best sushi in town, bar none. Definitely worth a spot on this list. Absolutely something, if you enjoy sushi at all, it's a place that every Denver resident should go at least once. Next, Little India. Yes, they're talking about the Lodo location, but there's a few locations for Little India. Probably my favorite Indian restaurant, Indian food I've had in town. No frills, just an Indian place, but it's really, really good food. Nice to see that on the list. Again, good job, OpenTable. Because there's variety here, right? Not everything has to be a whole big show. But if you want to go and get some good Indian food, Little India is definitely the spot. A little on the spendier side, but worth it. Next, Uchi in Rhino. Sushi fusion, super popular place. More fusion than sushi. A lot of folks love it, put it on par with Sushi Den. Little different type of restaurant. It was good. It wasn't my favorite the one time I went. It was delicious.
Nice.
But I don't know, I think I was expecting more sushi than fusion, but anyway, that's kind of a me problem. Good spot, worth trying if you're into the scene. It's a scene for sure. And it's not a local Denver restaurant either. There's like Austin, Dallas, Denver, Houston, Miami, Scottsdale, West Hollywood, Charlotte. So I don't know if you call that a chain, but a franchise for sure, which is fine. I have nothing against chains or franchises. I had a delicious meal at Outback Steakhouse just recently. But when we're talking about the restaurants that scream Denver, Uchi less so for me. Next, Marco's Coal-Fired Pizza. This comes up a lot when we're talking about best pizza in Denver. Definitely good. Wasn't crazy that much different from a lot of pizza places to me. That's just my personal opinion. A lot of people love it, drool over it. Pretty creative menu for a pizza place, so I'll give them that. If you're a pizza person, worth a visit. Next, Citizen Rail. Super highly thought of downtown restaurant. I admit, I've only been for drinks and appetizers. I need to try the steak. OpenTable's raving about the steak. You hear a lot about their steak. Their cocktails are fantastic, so I'll give them that. Great vibe, great decor. Matters, it's important. I've said this before, many steakhouses, many steak places, I believe, are overrated in terms of the amount of money you're paying versus what you're getting, considering you can make a pretty darn good steak at home. So I'm curious and need to do further research. If you have, drop me a comment. Next up, Shanahans Steakhouse. Look at that, another steakhouse. Greenwood Village, this one south of town. Yes, for me. Everything I said back there about steakhouses, I mean, there are a select few steakhouses in town I think are worth the price tag. Shanahans is one of them. You may have guessed, considering it's named after a football coach. It's not a big, fancy, pinky finger in the air type place. It is a classic steakhouse with a big bar in the middle and white tablecloths and dim lighting and polite, respectful, well-trained servers. And the steaks are fantastic. It's expensive, steakhouses are, but worth it. Shanahan's stamp of approval. Only two more on the list, and then I'm gonna bring up a few that I thought maybe should have made it. Okay, second to last, La French, or Le French, if you will, in the Denver Tech Center. Good, maybe not great. I don't know. I think I just didn't vibe with the menu, didn't quite get it. Do not believe that it encompasses Denver in any way. And last one, CYO City in Cap Hill, a vegetarian restaurant. What do you want me to do with this? I'm not trying to be meat guy. Look at me. I'm not like, the guy who's like, I need beef all the time. But I do have a meat-forward diet. Typically when I eat vegetarian, it almost never happens. Feels like something's missing. But I'm not a vegetarian. If you were a vegetarian, I would definitely go to CYO City. I hate to end on a negative note. That's not what I was trying to do. And we're not ending here because looking at this list, overall, as I mentioned before, I thought they did a great job. Like from a national outlet to look locally and get a lot of this right, whatever that means, pretty well done, OpenTable. Want to slide me some free OpenTable points? Feel free. What was it missing, or what would I have added to the list? Well, Blue Island Oyster Bar I brought up. I do think that's one of the finer establishments in Denver. Maybe they didn't want to have that and Jack's because they're too close to each other. I would have included it. Cherry Cricket, definitely. Cherry Cricket quality has gone downhill a little bit in recent years, but Denver institution, a staple. Just good old-fashioned burger joint. It has multiple locations now. Cherry Cricket definitely needs to be on this list. Finally, Cholon. I've talked about it before. Asian fusion Lon Semensma, two locations at least. French onion soup dumplings, best in town. Menu, one of the best in town in its class. Great happy hour. Cholon should be on the list. If you made it this far, God bless you. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you soon.